Start your presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Artur. And hello, everyone. My name is Alexis. I'm the National E-commerce Manager for DHL Express Canada. So I have been with DHL now for 7 years, and I was more focused on e-commerce over the last 3 years, taking care of the e-commerce strategy for DHL Express Canada, but also I am in charge of some of our biggest e-commerce customers. And I'm going to share my screen now. Artur, can you see my screen?
1 minute. Yes, I can see it. Yeah, good.
Perfect. All right. So today I'm going to share a few insights about DHL Express Canada and the e-commerce market here. So I'm going to start giving you a country overview of Canada. Then we'll talk about the trade partners with Canada and some of the big imports we are doing in Canada. Then we'll look at the service centers and gateways at DHL Express Canada. We'll talk about the e-commerce market, the delivery preferences, a payment methods, which is really important for the e-commerce. And then we'll look at the tax rates by province in Canada, and I will share with you some important links regarding the customs. So let's start with Canada. So the capital of Canada is Ottawa. Canada is the second largest country in the world. Just to give you some perspective, a flight from Montreal on the East Coast to the West Coast to Vancouver takes about 6 hours flight. We have 10 provinces with 3 territories. The Canadian dollar, it's our local currency. We have different languages spoken across the country, and we have 2 official languages, English and French. And this is really important as well when we know that 40% of consumers want to make purchases from a website in a different language. Really, if you are planning to target the Canadian market, it's going to be important to have your website both in English and French. The population of Canada is around 38 million, and Canada is ranked 23 out of 189 in terms of ease of doing business, which is, it's pretty easy to do business with Canada. And DHL Canada was founded a bit more than 50 years ago. So we have really good footprint across the country. Something else to note, the top 3 cities in Canada, the first one is going to be Toronto. On the east part, it's around 2.7 million persons. Then we have Montreal on the east as well with 1.7 million persons, and then Calgary, which is more to the center west, which is 1.3 million persons. So now in terms of the countries where Canada is importing the most from, so the top one is USA with about 50% of the imports in Canada, followed by China and Mexico. But we also have different European countries such as Germany, Italy, and France. Also, in terms of the top 5 import products, we have the vehicles, industrial machinery, electrical equipment, and also minerals and fuel. But really important to note that many imports of fashion products from European brands are really important also in Canada. We have many big retailers chain across Canada that imports European products. And in not only in Canada, but in North America, the customers here, I mean, the persons here love to buy European branded product as well. So if you are in the fashion industry, Canada might be really good for you to do business with. In terms of the different service centers and gateways we have at DHL Canada, really important for this slide because we know 62% of consumers expect their orders to arrive within 2 days or even less. With DHL, for all the shipment coming from Europe, going to Canada, it takes usually 2 to 4 days. So it's really an express delivery service. And the good thing here, it's when the shipment are imported directly from Europe, we have a new gateway in YHM, Hamilton, which is next to Toronto. So all the shipments are not going through usually the regional hub that could be in the US, then exported to Canada. Here it comes directly to Canada. So we don't need to deal with US customs. Everything is done locally in Canada. Now, in terms of the in Canada, so I just wanted to share with you some stats here. So in 2021, there were 27 million e-commerce users in Canada, representing 72% of the Canadian population. And this number is expected to reach 31 million users by 2025. Another important thing is we all know that now many buyers are making their purchase directly through their phone, on their phone. In Canada, it's the case as well. 53% of Canadians made online retail purchases with their mobile device, and this trend is going to grow. We already saw it from 21 to 22, and it's going to keep growing as well. So if you have a website, make sure also this website is available through the phone. If you are looking at doing any digital advertising, digital marketing, 57% of all social media visits in Canada are done through Facebook. So Facebook is really the leader in terms of the different social media in Canada, but it's also followed by Pinterest and Twitter. So if you want to do any marketing campaign, you can start focusing on those social media. And we talk about it at the beginning of the webinar in terms of the different languages, but in Canada, there are a lot of immigration and we have more than 200 languages spoken in Canada. So I mentioned earlier, really important that your website, if you are planning to target the Canada market, is available in the 2 official languages, which is French and English. But also if you have the option to allow more languages on your website, I will really encourage you to do so, because here it's really important in Canada. Now, in the first 5 months of 2021, the retail e-commerce sales accounted for 15 billion USD, and SAM it's planning to grow again more, keep seeing this trend growing up. So the e-commerce it's really going to be one of the key industry for Canada. Now I wanted to share a slide about the delivery preferences and different methods of payment for our Canadian customers. And that's really important because 40% of the customers want to make, 91% of shoppers say that the availability of a proactive shipment notification is critical to their decision to buy again from a merchant. So here what we develop at DHL, it's a tool called On-Demand Delivery, which is an online platform with tailored notification and delivery options offering clarity to the customers. And what we did, we use this tool, we did a quick analysis to see what the consumer behavior in Canada. And we can see if we look at the top 3 delivery preferences for the Canadian customers, we see that 60% of the customers are choosing the signature release. Canada is a pretty safe country, so most of the customers choose to not have a signature on delivery. You see 68%. The second preferred option, it's the scheduled delivery. So for that, 12% of customers are going to choose to get their shipments maybe the next day, 2 days after, or even change the time during the day. If we are planning to do the delivery in the morning, they are going to ask us to deliver in the afternoon. And last, it's the signature form. It's really similar to the signature release, but with the addition that the receiver leaves an on-demand delivery printed and signed delivery form for the courier. So that's really the top 3 delivery preferences for the Canadians. And another stat, 9 out of 10 Canadians want to receive tracking updates. So really important if you are planning to do e-commerce with Canada, to sell your goods here, it's really important that you offer tracking updates. Now, looking at the different methods for payment in Canada, in different regions across the world, we can find different payment methods. In Canada, we'll say it's pretty standard. Credit cards represent 38% of the payments, followed by the debit cards or the e-wallet with PayPal for 15%. And I will really also encourage you to offer localized payment option. So here it will be 98% of online shoppers prefer to pay with their local currency. So it's really going to be important that you offer your customer to pay in the Canadian dollar as well. So now I wanted to talk really straight by province. It can be a bit different than other countries. So we have two main tax. The first one is going to be the federal tax applied by Canada. And then after we have different tax through the different province. So here you can see on the left on the screen the different province, and you can see the tax can really vary. For example, if you look at Alberta, the tax are going to be only 5%. But if you look at customers that would be in New Brunswick or Nova Scotia, the tax will be 15%. So it's going to be important as well, depending on the term of shipping. If you are shipping duty and tax paid or duty and tax unpaid, you also need to consider the different tax rates by province in Canada. And now, regarding the customs, I wanted to share a few links with you that I believe are important. So the first one, it's with the GST and the HST rules on import and export. So this link, it's directly the link from the Canada Customs, so you can get more detail on that. The second link I shared, it's the custom tariffs for 2022. So here's the advantage of that. It's if you know the HS code for your product, you know the origin of the origin country of your product, you can really understand what's going to be the tax percentage of you shipping to Canada. So that's going to be the second link with the CBSA, which is a customs, Canadian customs link. The third link, really important as well, it's regarding the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. So you're going to get more detail on this CETA agreement, which is really the agreement with the preferential tariff you will find if you ship to Canada. And the last one, it's a link with here all the different free trade agreements we have between Canada and Europe. So not only Eastern Europe, but here you can see like the trade agreement with UK, the different CAFTA agreement, CETA agreement, SAFTA agreement. So really believe these links are important for you to look at before you start exporting to Canada. Customs are pretty easy, I would say, in Canada to deal with, but I will really encourage as well for you to get in contact with your local DHL representative. And if you have any questions, they will be able to contact directly our DHL Canada team, and we can answer all the questions that you might have. And that's it for me. I'll be happy to take any questions. Maybe at the end, I will let Arturs lead the questions.
Yes, please. If somebody has some questions, put it down in the Q&A section, and Alexis will answer it. If not, then I think I can start my presentation with sharing the screen. Also, after this webinar, you also can contact me or Alexis, and then we also can help you answering your question. But thank you, Alexis, for your presentation. It was really interesting to listen about Canada's e-commerce market overview. It was really interesting because previously we had a webinar with our colleague Rachel from the United States, and there were a lot of similarities between Canada and United States, and a lot of things what you can advertise and use in Canada, you also can use in the United States market. So I think it's a really good option what you can basically use in both markets.
Thank you.
But for today's my chosen topic is social selling tips for your e-commerce businesses. I chose it because I use social media daily, not just for entertaining, but also for my work. And I truly believe that social media is one of the greatest tools to help your business grow. You can share it your brand stories, your success stories, great moments with your customers, with your partners. and it really can impact your business future. But now I want to take the opportunity to share with you with our latest event, what we have here in Latvia. I will show you the next slide. What we had here in Latvia, we did a charity football tournament where we invited our customers, our partners to play in it. And the main goal was to basically gather some money for SOS Children Village, so they could be able to sport, buy some equipment or exercise. And also here in the picture, you can see in the black shirts on the left side on the right corner is their football team, which we also supported. And yes, with help with our customers and our partners, we gathered some money. And also, this is my first suggestions for e-commerce businesses when you are making your contents in social media. Make it as different as you can so it could be more interesting, and it isn't like a marketplace where you just put your product in it, because a lot of people will start being annoying and they will start unfollowing you. But looking at these pictures from our event, here is how I previously told you is our team with the SOS Children Village. And then there were also some gifts for the children, also for our customers and supporters, our customers playing it, and of course the team who won this tournament, which were our Riga airport team. But now, before I start, I want to play with you a game. This is going to be a question game. I will ask you a question. We will have 4 answers, and the first one who will answer it right will receive a gift from DHL. And after this webinar, we will just contact you and then we'll talk more detailed about how we're going to deliver it with you. But put your answers down in the comment section, not in the Q&A session, but in the comment section, please. And I think let's start with the question. How much people use social media throughout the world? And A is 3.23 billion, B 5.18 billion, C 4.62 billion people, and D 5.71 billion people around the world are using social media. And please put down your answers in the chat section, please. Not in the Q&A section, please. Yeah, in the chat so everybody can see it. Oh, all right. Then put it in the Q&A section, please. Yeah, didn't know the chat is disabled. All right, some answers coming in. Yeah, I see it. I see it. All right, very good. Very good. Okay, a lot of people are, yeah, proceed to pacing, very good. Really like the activity. Okay, so we have here some B, C, B, yeah. Okay, okay, thank you everybody who tried to answer it. And the right answer is so far, it's 4.62 billion people around the world are using social media. And also our winner is, it was, I will say, it was Matis Pilants. Yes. After the webinar, we will contact you and then we will talk about more detail about your gift. But let's continue. And thank you everybody for participating in this questionnaire. 4.62 billion people around the world are using social media. Is basically more than a half of the population. And if you live in Latvia, like for example, we only have like 2 million people here living or less. And I would say 50% of them use only social media or social media apps. For example, my mother just uses Wish or AliExpress to buy some things on the internet. But you can see the struggle, the difficulty, how businesses in Latvia would struggle to find and attract new customers for their businesses to really grow, because people are the main thing why businesses grow. And by using social media, you can really have the opportunity to reach or contact these 4.62 billion people around the world, which change basically the game of e-commerce businesses. But it's not that easy to find your target audiences, because you can't offer for everybody the same thing, because not everybody would be interested in it. For example, I think if you go for a fishing trip, before you go for fishing, you try to look at where you are going, what fishes that are swimming around in that lake, what those fishes are eating, what bait you need to gather and take it with you, and also understand in what time those fishes are the most hungry, most effective, most active, in what places they like to swim around. And by knowing all this information, you really can be more successful by catching these fish. And the same thing is also in social media. By researching all the information you can about your target audiences, when they're most active, in what social media applications they are roaming around, what do they like, what they don't like, what time is the perfect to advertise your product, so you be more efficient and more successful by catching it. Not just randomly like putting out ads, or also like going on a fishing trip and just throwing the bait and hoping for the best. By really analyzing all these things, you can be more successful by catching and targeting your audience. Here I have a really good picture where it shows for which industry, which social media app is most suitable. About each of them, I'm not gonna talk about, but I want to specify that YouTube doesn't has any red dots, which means it can be used for any industry. I use YouTube daily, not just for listening and entertaining myself, but also to find something to build or something to fix. I'm searching for these tutorials to help me to understand more. And also I use YouTube to educate myself, to understand more better about e-commerce, understand maybe how to make better presentations. And lately I needed to find a Polaroid camera, and I needed to know if it suits me or not, what's the difference between a normal camera and this camera. And by searching this video, I really found a man who described this Polaroid, and it really made my mind if I need it or not. But under the video in the description, it had already shown in which store I can buy it. And I think a lot of companies don't use YouTube as much, and that potential what it offers to businesses, how to target your audiences or find new audiences, and also generate new sales leads. Also, another very good application what I want to talk about is, and suggest you to do already, is TikTok, because it's a very fast growing social media application. For now, there is more or less younger audiences, but I think you need to put it in like a seed in it, so it grows for the future customers of your businesses who will help you grow. And also I use also TikTok for educating me, and the latest thing what I was searching for, how I can visually make my presentations better. But now let's talk about how to keep our brand consistent so we can really attract these customers and keep them. If you go to the store and you want to buy a Coca-Cola and you on the shelf see the traditional Coca-Cola and the second Coca-Cola what we have here in Latvia is called RC Cola, which is not that popular, but yeah. If you see these two Coca-Colas, which of them you are going to choose? Of course, you're going to choose the traditional Coca-Cola because you know them. The fourth biggest difference what Coca-Cola is doing other than RC Cola is that they are advertising in TVs, in social media, in the events, in restaurants, and commercials. You see them everywhere, basically. But RC Cola, for example, in Latvia, I really needed to Google it and at least find one ad about them. And by just consistently advertising your brand, you can really increase your recognition, and also you can attract new customers, because if you at least show up 7 times before the client, then he will become your customer. The next thing would be think about your brand colors. And I think here DHL is one of the most and the best examples you can find, because if you had at least 1 or 2 interactions with us and you are just going around the city or driving around the city and you see a yellow bus with a red logo, you already know it is us, DHL. But if you see just a yellow bus without any logos, you will still think about that it is a DHL bus. And DHL is really great of using its colors. And I think also your brands can improve by using your business colors, how you can really increase this recognition of your brand so you keep being more consistent, more recognizable, and more popular in customers' eyes. The next thing would be making your brand valuable. This is very interesting because last month here in Latvia, we had elections where a lot of our politicians were advertising their missions, their values, so what they are going to improve here in Latvia. And by sharing this information with the public, they're really trying to attract their supporters. And so they vote for them and they get in the government, and then they could do their missions or targets. And the same thing is with businesses. Use social media to really share about your brand stories, why you make this business, what's the mission of this business, what are your business values, because by sharing just this information, you can really attract new customers, new clients to your business who have the same values, and they will support you. They will be more trustworthy and also more loyal, and they will be in the long game, I think, a really crucial thing for a business when if you need some help with it. And yeah, that's why choose to use social media also, not just for selling, but also for telling some stories about your business. Timing in advertising is also a really crucial thing. Yeah. If you, for example, are selling a lamp, what time would be the most efficient, the best time to advertise it or put it out in public? And of course it would be in the evening when it's dark, because in that time most of the people are using their lamps. If something happens to this lamp, if it breaks, then the customer or the client or the people, well, they will go through web stores and start finding a new lamp to buy it and replace it. And the same thing is with your products, what you are offering to your clients. Really analyze your product, your customers, what time it will be most efficient to put it out your advertising to really attract these new customers or also existing customers. And also by researching this information, you can also save some costs on advertising, because advertising is very, very expensive also. Engagement with your customers. Previously, before this job, I was a salesman in a sports shop, and most of my days I was interacting with the customers. One of my jobs, of course, was to sell them, but the second thing was improving their buying experience in the shop, because a lot of people were coming with a different moods. Someone were very like angry, or somebody was very positive. But by engaging with them in the conversations, you can really change their minds, change their moods, and also by being more closer to the customers, you can make them more loyal, more trustworthy for your business also in the future. The difference basically in the e-commerce needs to be that you improve your web stores so it could be more comfortable for your customers, easy to use, easy to find, and also easy to contact you. And use at least 1 or 3 options for your clients how they can contact you, because younger audiences like to ask through emails, and older generation, they really like to more interact throughout the phone and ask directly to you. And it is also a very good opportunity to ask questions to your customers also directly, and it can help your business to grow and also improve. Sharing user-generated content. This is very interesting, and I think it is also one of the cheapest ones you can use in advertising, is by using your employees, your family, your friends, your partners. And the idea is, if you have a product, you just give it to them and they just share it with their friends, with their colleagues, with their families, and it's going like in the chain of the reaction. And also here, you can also want to mention using influencers also for advertising, because influencers have a really big impact on their viewers, followers, and it also can really help your brand content and also generating sales leads. And think about with who you are working with. Don't choose the most popular influencers, because it also can backfire you. I think you need to choose influencers who are working, let's say, in the same industry, or have the same mission, or have the same interests. And also you would be on the one page with them. And the last thing would be creating a content calendar for your content in each month. Also here in DHL, we also do it each month. We make a content calendar, so we'll be more consistent what we are putting out in the social media, what ideas we have to attract new customers, or just share our stories with our existing customers so they don't forget us. And I really believe by being consistent and planning all this stuff, you can be more successful, and also it will help your business grow now and also in the future. For me, it's basically, it is all. If you have any questions, I am ready to answer, and you can put it in the Q&A section. Of course, after this presentation, we will also contact the winner of the contest. Then we talk about more detail at where we're gonna ship your gift. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the webinar. Also, thank you for your attention. I hope somebody also gathered some good and valuable information for your businesses, and maybe you will choose it to try it out. And also, after this webinar, we will share our presentation and also the recording with you, so you can share it with your friends, employees, or partners. So, yes, I think from me it's everything. Alexis, maybe you have something to add?
Yeah, actually, I saw a question from Britta when you started your parts, and Britta was asking, is there a way for an European-based company to send goods to Canada so that customer will pay the GST HST in our web shop and the order will not end up in customs? So for that, Britta, we have really two different solutions. So if you want to pay directly the fees to DHL Express, but the customers to pay the fees to you, what I would suggest is to download a duty and tax calculator plugin that you can add to your website. And then once your customer goes on your website and asks to deliver the shipment to Canada, this plugin is going to calculate the duty and tax, so the customer can pay it to you directly, and then you will pay it to DHL Express. Just so you know as well, once the pickup is done at your warehouse or even at your home, if you're working from home, what we do is we are already clearing the shipment. Most of the shipment are cleared before arrival into Canada. So once we do the pickup, we look at the commercial invoice, we clear the shipment with the customs already. And if you decided to pay or to advance the fees, then we are going to send you the invoice directly, but we'll deliver the shipment. But if you decided that your customer is going to pay the fees upon delivery, through our platform, we'll also send directly a notification to your customer explaining there is duties and tax. And usually the time the shipment is being delivered, even if it's really quick, your customers will have about 2 days to pay the duties and tax. So usually we don't have any issue with shipment being stuck at customs. Usually it's already clear once it gets to Canada and we deliver the shipment directly. I hope it answers your question.
All right. Maybe somebody else wanna ask any questions?
I see, Arturs, one question for you as well. When is the best time to advertise DHL service?
What's the best time to advertise DHL service? So we really can advertise when we are basically advertising where our competitors not advertising, because we also research this information, but we mostly advertise in the evenings and also in the weekends, because most of the people are, let's say, relaxing after the job, and they have more time to really get this information to them. Yeah. And I think it answers the question when we are advertising our ads. And maybe somebody else. If it's all, thank you everybody for your attention, and